Well, I'm not even going to wait till the end of the game to do some video um, because the game is over. It's at halftime. Wish I was wrong on this one. I saw this one coming, that it was going to be a Lions blowout, and it to this point is a Lions blowout, 24-7. 49er defense has not shown up. They're not tackling. They don't even look like they want to tackle. They're afraid to tackle. And unfortunately, Brock Purdy has completely turned back into a pumpkin, and it's just it's over. I mean, the Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl. It'll be against the Chiefs. That was a surprise. I really didn't think that was going to happen. And yeah, that like it's done. It's over. The Lions are going to win an NFC championship. A team that has been a bottom feeder basically since kind of the end of the Barry Sanders days, because they were pretty good for some years in the 90s. Even if they didn't win in the playoffs, they were at least, they were pretty regularly in the playoffs. But basically since the turn of the century, they've been awful. A couple playoff appearances, no wins until this year. They're about to have their third playoff win in these playoffs. They had one playoff win for like, how many years was it? Like 60 years before that. And this is gonna be, I think, their first road playoff win since the 50s. What a season. What a fucking season from hell. And I picked this to happen in this game. By the way, this is gonna be a mopey video, so I'm sure all the Lions fans who pop on, find my videos and have found some of my anti-Lions videos and stuff this year, they're gonna relish this. Well, strap in, because this might be the only thing will be worse is in 2 weeks if they do beat the Chiefs, which they probably will, because why not? Yeah, this is hell. And it goes beyond just like this one season, Lions, Vikings, it's just it's this whole thing. And I probably had videos where I've talked about this sort of thing, that just having to always see all these other downtrodden markets and franchises have their moment. And maybe it doesn't always result in a championship, but it's, even if it just results in, say, getting to the championship and then losing, well, we get nothing. We get absolutely nothing. And I'm just talking Big Four. I don't dismiss the links, but we are talking Big Four. I mean, you can call it jealousy, envy, whatever. Of course, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of every fucking team, in every sport that has success. While we sit here and we get, the Vikings are good a lot, but they haven't been in a Super Bowl in my lifetime. And we're 2 quarters away from the Vikings being the only NFC team that hasn't made it to the Super Bowl in my lifetime, or that hasn't made it in like the last 35 years. I think the second longest drought is going to be Washington, and they made it in 91. So that's like 32 seasons. And our droughts, add another 15 onto that. So but I mean, the Vikings are good. They're the winningest franchise that has never won a Super Bowl, and I believe it's not even close. I don't even know who's the closest after that. Maybe the Chargers or somebody. And, obviously Twins. I was around for 87 and 91, so I got those in my back pocket. But they haven't been to a World Series since. They had the worst playoff losing streak ever of of a major four sports team. We were all very excited when they beat the Blue Jays in the playoffs, but you know, they don't seem to be particularly close to actually winning a championship. The Timberwolves, you know, they're right there in the West right now, but they're kind of starting to tread water, and they don't really look like a team that's actually going to be able to compete for anything big time. Maybe a playoff series win or something, but they're not going to compete for a championship. And the Wild are kind of just terrible, and have not been close to a championship really ever. Um, and I don't care about hockey to the degree that I care about like football and baseball, but um, you know, it's just every year practically there's like one or two downtrodden franchises, downtrodden markets that get, go and win. The Lions are going to be in a Super Bowl, maybe win. The Texas Rangers won a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl. The Texas Rangers won a World Series last year, their first ever World Series. The Denver Nuggets just won the NBA championship last year. Like, this isn't. It's not like the teams that are downtrodden, markets that are downtrodden. They always are staying there. They're not. They're popping up all over the place, but not here. We don't get anything. We don't get anything. And it is just endlessly infuriating and frustrating. Because, like, I look at these playoffs, and I look at the path that the Detroit Lions have had to get to the Super Bowl. A couple of home games against some fringe-type playoff teams. And then, yeah, they go on the road, but they go on the road to face a very fraudulent 49er team with a quarterback who teased us a little bit, but really isn't very good. You can bet Kirk Cousins to San Francisco talk is gonna heat back up now, because I don't think the 49ers are gonna be too happy about getting bounced, um, in a home NFC Championship game because your quarterback can't compete. Um, um, and I look at and look. Some years the path is just easy, and we've had the Vikings had a couple. The Vikings back in like 2000, the NFC playoff field was terrible. That was the 41 donut season. We got faced the Giants team that might have been the worst one seed I've ever seen, but we got killed in that game. So it's like whatever. Like the Lions get just this incredibly easy run, and they've taken advantage of it. We had what should have been an easy playoff game, at least first game last year against the Giants. We didn't take advantage of it, and I don't think we would have gone much beyond that. But like the NFC was so there to be had this year. Weakest NFC field I've ever seen. I'm pissed because I'm watching Brock Purdy go out there and play like a fucking jackass. Nick Mullins lit these guys up twice recently, like within the last month. And yeah, he threw a lot of interceptions and stuff, but the Vikings consistently move the ball on these guys. And Purdy can't do shit, and this game's over. It's like 24-7. They're not going to come back. They're not going to do a 17-point comeback. Because for one thing, you need the defense to make some stops to do that, and they're not going to stop them. If you just say tell the 49ers just to kneel on it, or the Lions to kneel on it the whole second half, the 49ers will just get all sorts of possessions. I still don't think they're going to be able to do it. So this is going to happen. The Lions are going to the Super Bowl. And all their little fucking fans, their bandwagon fans, their fans who've decided to devote their entire, what should be a celebratory time for them to just attacking and trolling, Vikings fans. It's like, whatever. Do what you want. But, they're gonna get what we have gotten in almost 50 fucking years. Super Bowl 11, January 1977. I wasn't alive yet. You know, it's like it's it's this long ago time that doesn't even feel like Earth. Like I can't even comprehend something that's been that long ago. You know, I mean, the only team that's going to have a longer drought of not playing in the Super Bowl is Cleveland, and of course they didn't have the Cleveland Browns for a couple years, but I think overall seasons it's still gonna there's still gonna be more in a bigger drought. But they got an NBA championship recently. They've had a couple of well, they were the Indians then, a couple of Indians World Series appearances, obviously a couple of their Cleveland NBA Finals appearances. They've had stuff. They've had at least getting to the brink, and we don't even get to the brink. Nope, we haven't even gotten to the brink since the '91 Twins. And it's just I've just lost my ability to be happy for like the downtrodden franchises and markets, and I just can't do it anymore. And this one hurts. This reminds me a little bit of when the Royals, um, were so bad for so long, like one of the worst teams in baseball for like decades, and then out of nowhere they pop up. I think 2014, 2015, they go to a couple World Series, they win one, and then they've sunk right back into being terrible. But it's like, well, at least they got a couple of World Series appearances and won a championship in this big gap of bad baseball. And I'm not saying that the Lions will never be good again. I don't think they're ever going to have this easy of a run. You know, depending on other moves and stuff that happen in the offseason, because I have no idea what's going to happen with my team. I might pick the Packers to win the division next year. The Lions will never have it this easy again, and they're taking advantage. But it's like they are taking advantage, and like you knew right as soon as this game started, that it was over. The second, I mean, they scored a touchdown within like 2 minutes, and then the 49ers miss a field goal on their opening drive, and then the Lions go right down and score again. It's 14. It's like it's completely over at that point. Boy, it makes stuff like this, like seeing this, and it can't just be, being a fan of sports, being a fan of teams, local teams, whatever. It can't just always be about, you know, I need a championship or it's not worth my time. It's not like that. But when it's just the compounded decades, over 30 years, man. Over 30 years since we've had a championship appearance in the Big Four. And again, we've had other sports, some non Big Four sports, the Lynx. We've had some Gopher sports titles. Like there've been some other things. Like I care more about the Lynx than I care about the Wild. I pretty much do, but I understand it's a bigger deal than NHL. But I mean, to not have anything and to keep seeing this, and now to have like that, I don't know that one could hurt more. Honestly, I really don't. I mean, it's the whole misery loves company idea. Like, there's been like a comfort to, you know, it's a comfort of like, well, we've got it bad, but hey, look at the Lions. At least we're not the Lions. You can always tell you, at least we're not the Lions. Well, we're not going to be able to say that anymore. Like overall, we're a much more successful franchise than the Lions. We've won many more playoff games. We've won many more games just overall. We've beaten them more often than not by a considerable margin. But they're gonna get a Super Bowl appearance and maybe a win. maybe I should save the save the moping for 2 weeks from now if they actually beat the Chiefs. Um, shot of the crowd. It looked coming up back for the half. It almost looked like there's no one in the stands. Maybe they all left. Maybe they all gave up like I have. But yeah, this one's gonna hurt. Like, it's been annoying because I mean, obviously we've had to deal with, well, the Packers have won Super Bowls, and obviously when they won it the year after the Favre interception. That was really, and they won it as a 6 seed, and it's like that hurt, and I really didn't care when the Bears made it to the Super Bowl that one year. I didn't mind the Bears. I've really never minded the Bears that much. I really had never minded the Lions either until this year. Now I kind of despise them, but it's always been, fuck the Packers most of all. But I've moped for the whole halftime back to the third quarter, but I might as well continue. I ain't done moping yet. God damn it. I still think the Lions are frauds. I don't give a shit. It's just I think the whole NFC has been pretty fraudulent. That's why I just can't believe it. I can't believe that. Why did this have to be the fucking season where we just get destroyed by injuries and our quarterbacks, Achilles explodes, and we don't have JJ for half the season, and we, documented have like the least luck in the NFL. Not saying we're being this exact spot, but we would have had a shot, man. Especially with an actual defense a little bit this year. But yeah, this one's gonna hurt. This is, to have to swallow this pill, and I don't know that one could be worse. I don't know. I mean, I care about the Vikings more than I care about any of the other teams, so it's like, there's not quite that level of emotional investment. I'm really not. I'm kind of ambivalent about the Wild. Used to be pretty big Timberwolves fan in the KG days, but really ever since he got traded, I haven't cared that much. Like, if they could put it together and do something this year, that's great. I'd be really happy with that. But it's not gonna, like, devastate me if they don't. And the Twins, 87 and 91 are in my back pocket. I've at least experienced that. The 0-18, that's done. Maybe they can at least, compete in the playoffs in the future, but I don't sit and think of like, oh, I'm never going to see the Twins win a World Series. I don't think I'll ever see them win a World Series again, but at least I did see them win it twice. And the 49ers are back, and they're already screwing up. So, but it's like the Vikings are my number one, and it's like I can't imagine anything hurting worse than seeing the Lions get to a Super Bowl. I've never seen it. I've said I probably haven't said it in a video, but I've said it many times that, like, I would just like the Vikings to get to a Super Bowl, just to, like, experience the 2 weeks of anticipation for a Viking Super Bowl. Even if we ended up losing, it's like at least to get to experience them in a Super Bowl. Experience them on that stage. It's like, well, there's a nice play by Purdy. But they're down 17. It's not going to matter, and they're not going to stop them on defense, so it's not going to matter. Wouldn't it be something if in a couple hours I'm doing a video where they did win? But I don't think it's even remotely possible. Well, that was more of a great catch than a great throw, because of course it wasn't a great throw, because Brock Purdy sucks. We should have known, man, when Brock Purdy was the only thing standing between this catastrophe. The Rams should have done it. They should have fucking called that PI, but hey, that wasn't going to happen. But this one's going to hurt. This is going to hurt. It's going to cap. This is going to be the capper for the season from hell. It's been just a brutal season to be a Vikings fan. And, to see the Detroit Lions of all teams get to do this when I've never seen my team do this, even get to one. I'm sure for like the old time, the real old timers who were who experienced the four Super Bowl losses, and at least kind of know what it's like, and have been waiting and waiting and waiting to get back. It's maybe even worse. Of course, those people have fewer years left to have a chance to experience it, and you know, I got years left, but I don't have as many years left as I used to, and I gotta wonder. I mean, it's legitimate. I gotta wonder, is it, you know? I mean, there's 32 teams. Even if like one makes it even if you cycle through completely for 32, that's still 32 years worth of of Super Bowls, and it's like, it's nothing guaranteed, and I'm not, you can't just be like, it has to be a championship or everything is a waste of time. Like I don't consider like the Minneapolis Miracle to be a waste of time because we didn't win the Super Bowl after that, or or even like the last Viking season, which was one of my favorites ever. Like, we didn't win a playoff game, but it was still a really fun season. It still wasn't a waste of time, but to see every other team get at least to the game, at least two and see all these other franchises and the major sports get there, and we don't get shit. It wears on you, and it beats you down, man. Like I think the one that just killed me was, I think, because we shared like the longest drought of like the markets with all the major teams with Washington, and then I think it was, I forget if it was the either the Nationals or the Capitals won a title first and broke that streak, and of course both have won, so now they've got both, like. Plus, I think they fucking got a WNBA title too, so we don't even be like, well, at least we had that too. Well, they got one too, so it's like I think that was the one that completely flipped me, because obviously, it didn't used to be this way. Like when the Red Sox finally broke through, I was really, really excited about that. There were some like when the Broncos finally won a Super Bowl many years ago. That was awesome, but it ain't like that anymore. Like, we need to cash in something here. Nothing's gonna happen soon, because we didn't get a Super Bowl this year. We're not gonna get a Stanley Cup. I very dubious about the Timberwolves' chances. I just it shouldn't be this hard. I don't get it, man. Shouldn't be this hard, but it is. It's the way it is for Minnesota sports, and boy, this is as bad as it gets. The only way it could be worse is if you actually were watching this video for over 20 minutes of me just moping about my miserable life as a sports fan in this fucking state. God, I've rued the day many a times that that my family moved back to Minnesota. They were from Minnesota, and then were out near San Francisco for many years, and then moved back shortly before I was born. I kind of wish they'd stay out there. I think of all the championships and stuff I could have experienced as a Bay Area sports fan in my lifetime, and then it's like, oh, I'd still be miserable tonight because it's the 49ers, but it's just so. Well, hey, the 49ers, they got us a field goal. It's 24-10. It's so exciting. The only hope is, like, well, the Lions didn't do much on offense, I don't think, in the second halves of their other playoff games, but I don't trust Brock Purdy at all. So, all right. Anyway, congratulations to the Detroit Lions. I'll I'll take the clown makeup on this one. I dismissed them all year. I still don't think they're. I don't think this is like one of the great teams of all time or anything like that. I still think they're benefiting from a very weak NFC playoff field, and they benefited from a disastrous season for the Vikings. And the Packers took a long time to get going this season. I think going into the playoffs, the Packers were better than the Lions at that point, but you know they're going to be the NFC champs, and they're going to be playing in a Super Bowl that they probably will win, and that's it's just the way it is. I got to take my fucking L, man. Got to take the L. I doubted them all year, called them frauds. Fuck it, I still think they're frauds, but they're better than the 49ers right now, that's for sure. They were better than the other, kind of mediocre teams they played in the playoffs, but, would they have gotten to the Super Bowl if they had to go to, if they had to do what Kansas City did and go to Buffalo and then Baltimore? I don't know, probably not, but that's just how it goes sometimes. So, Lions have won the NFC Championship, and I'm just going to have to be miserable about it and hope that my team can somehow. I'm now aspiring for my team to be like the Detroit Lions. This is how far we have fallen. And it's just as bad as it gets. Season from hell. Let us go.